Free will. Oh shit, a new one. Yo. Shit. This one sounds interesting.
Discover the magic of BetMGM Casino, where the excitement is always on deck. Pull up a seat and check out a wide variety of table games with a live dealer. From roulette to blackjack, watch as the dealer hosts your table game and live chat with them throughout your experience to feel like you're actually at the casino. The excitement doesn't stop there. With over 3,000 games to choose from, including fan favorites like Cash Eruption, UFC Gold Blitz, and more. Make deposits instantly to jump in on the fun, and make same-day withdrawals if you win. Download the BetMGM Ontario app today. You don't want to miss out. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 19 plus to wager, Ontario only. Please gamble responsibly. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connex Ontario.
You've lost the artifact. Find on the map, pick up the artifact.
To speak to an advisor for your charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you
Wait, what? Says I lost an artifact?
Global controls will
What?
have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat.
Did I sell it? Maybe I sold it. It's weird.
Open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm. And
Now, do I have time? Wait, I want to.
From me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones, twos, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Adjacent
10 hours.
Gold and Silver, go to San
I might just sleep.
Promo code Timbo.
Time's it.
Get in on
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
price of
sleep.
game while your fiat money's about to collapse. Price smells the way to go. Silver, gold, for as little as $50 a month. You can get it on the game. We thank them for sponsoring the show. Guys, this episode we're about to have with Dark Journalist is one of the best episodes we've ever done. It's a banger. Dude, the info's great. Xavier Guerrero asks incredible questions. I mean, we're talking this might be peak tinfoil hat. We may go. It may not get better than this.
Xavier
might be the
asks
best
good
show
questions.
we've ever done of all time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, check out
It's funny.
samsongreen.com. Grab my special. Anything you can do to help me would be greatly appreciated. Just go check it out. All the money goes to help pay off the special for what I had to drop on it. I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the November 11th through the 16th, and then Tampa Bay on the 6th, and then December, and then Cancun at the end of December 11th through the 16th. Anything else, guys? Okay, great. Enjoy this episode. All right, we're very excited to have this next guest on. He is an author. He's a researcher. We're very excited to have him on. Please welcome the Dark Journalist. How are you, buddy?
Sam, it's great to be here. It's great to see everyone.
Now, let me ask
2000.
you something. Are you okay with the Dark Journalist, or is it just Dark Journalist? Because some, like Scorpions, does not like to be called the Scorpions. They like to be called Scorpions.
It's literally Dark Journalist, yeah.
Dark Journalist. Okay, there we go.
DJ for short.
DJ for short. So we're very appreciative of you coming on our show. For those who may not be familiar with you and your work, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a show every Friday night at 8 o'clock called the X Series. And it's the Dark Journalist X Series. And dark journalism, you could think of it basically as something that goes for the real kind of deep end of the story. So we're into the deep end of the mix. And that gets us deep on the political side into deep politics. It gets us into the UFO file, and it gets us into the mystery school piece. And what I find very often is those three branches don't really talk to each other very much. So you don't find a lot of the deep state researchers talking to UFO people, and you don't find the UFO people really dealing with the occult stuff. So it's an interesting thing that they all kind of ignore each other. But if you kind of fuse those three branches of knowledge, then you start coming up with something that is deeper and totally original, and it allows you to see things with a wide angle lens. And so that's where I'm coming from with dark journalism. And so if you do dark journalism, you have to be a dark journalist.
I love that, and those are some of my favorite topics too. Deep
You've done
state-
some great shows on them.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Where does your journey begin? How do you become dark journalist, and like what kicked this whole thing off?
I got into all these topics as a kid. So I was reading like John Keel books when I was 7 or 8 years old. And, the Eighth Tower and things like that. So I don't know what set it off, really, but it was a lifelong thing. And even when I did sort of more corporate kind of journalist gigs, I always had the dark journalism as a huge sideline underneath.
Holy shit, these are way over there.
But for me, it's a series of things. I always wanted to see what's behind the world, so what's behind the veil in that sense. So things always go a little bit deeper. And I think what you find when you get into subjects that are on the kind of mainstream
Let's go there.
acceptance level is you're working with thousands of years of perception, with this kind of channel normal thing. And there's all this stuff operating outside of it. And more often than not, I think what you find are people just aren't accustomed to what's going on the outside. So they stick to channel normal on a regular basis. But I think if you go just a little bit deeper, you start to...
Dude, what? Did this
things start to
move?
open up. So I started to get into,
Wait,
reincarnation,
what?
psychic experience and all that stuff.
It's
And
getting
then
bigger?
Politics. So it was like an interesting mix.
Wait,
And,
what?
somewhere
This is
along
different.
The line, I think the UFO thing just opened up as a huge mystery in the middle. So I think what I started to see was that there was a separate system operating side by side with the regular one, and I started to do kind of reports on that separate system. And that separate system once in a while notices it, and they don't like it.
It's very strange.
So,
They
yeah,
don't
that
like
was-
you putting out their secret plans that they've gone to a great extent to hide from you and all of us. But the interesting thing about the UFO thing is, like, I grew up with this notion that there were people out there. Something was out there. It was going to make contact with us, and it was going to be this giant moment in humanity on planet Earth. I just don't know if we're focused enough as a as a species for this to have that kind of impact anymore. I feel like if they're like, yeah, UFOs exist, would weird, but like whenever a mass trauma event happens, any kind, positive or negative, I always go to Instagram and see how the Instagram models are taking it, and they tend not to care at all about any of it. So it's interesting to me. I would, in 2024, where everything is just so been cranked up to 10.
Dude, some of the
that we
noises in this
haven't
shit,
had
what the
kind
fuck?
of big UFO moment that I think a lot of people were expecting. And do you expect that moment to come? And what do you think humanity's reaction to it will be?
No, that's really where the question is, because everything is so distracted and overloaded right now that could they even
Yes.
take something on that deep a level? But I think you're seeing a lot of caricatures of the real
can't
thing. So you know how we
I-
have a lot of UFO hearings in Congress and it's whistleblowers, but they're all CIA people. So it's a caricature of the actual thing. Yeah. And so what happens is you look at it generationally. If you go back to 1977 and think about like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's a lot of disclosure in the movie. And, that's almost 50 years ago. The question is, what happens to these waves of disclosure? They had waves of disclosure in the 60s, but it keeps hitting a wall of secrecy. So I think what they decided in 2017 was to go a different route, which was to throw out all the history, all the good investigation around the UFO file and come up with the CIA branch. And the CIA branch, we've done a lot of reporting on them. They came out through the New York Times, the TTSA, Lou Elizondo, CIA, Chris Mellon. And it's funny because we had Mellon's cousin. That's the Mellon banking family there. And Mellon's cousin is John Warner IV. He's the son of Senator Warner, the late Senator Warner, and Catherine Mellon. And he knows all about what the cousin is up to in the DOD. And he spilled the tea on our show on multiple occasions. So they're planning a UFO threat narrative coming through this congressional hearing process. And Chris Mellon is the DOD billionaire behind it.
So we're talking like an Operation Bluebeam situation.
It is. It is. And Bluebeam was always the street legend, Oh, there's going to be this thing, they're going to fake an alien invasion. And then people would go behind the scenes and be like, oh, Bluebeam's not real, we don't have enough data or whatever. But actually, the street legend of Bluebeam is more accurate because you might not know who the actual people are. But if you think about it, if you go back into a lot of the hidden history, so you've done some shows on the JFK assassination. I've done some documentaries on it. One of the things I found interesting is Fletcher Prouty, who was that intermediary between the CIA and the Joint Chiefs. He came out before he died in 1997, and he wrote, what they used to do with communism as a threat, they're going to do with UFOs and aliens going forward. That's in 97. This is a guy who had seen it all. He'd seen the Kennedy assassination. He'd seen it from the inside. And so we're looking at a real CIA insider there. He was putting it on the record and saying, this is what they're doing. Okay, so we've got 25 years since then. How's it going?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's where we are. And the congressional thing is big because I've even talked to some of the people who are running those congressional
Some good loot,
hearings.
actually.
They don't know anything about UFOs at all. So for them, it is just, for some reason, all these congressional people are discovering it. It's because somebody's in the background there whispering to them,
Holy
hey,
shit.
UAP, the technology train, the money train is coming. Just keep talking about it. And so instead of that stonewalling government thing, which has been the rule of the day, they've decided we're going to co-opt it and we're going to bring it forward in this fashion. And that's where you're going to get guys like Dave Grush, and I've spoken to him, and all these people, and they're part of a program. And it's interesting because when I talked to Grush, he said Chris Mellon said I can't go on your show.
Well, how far you can see the laser.
That's control. Hardcore. That's not a whistleblower. You're not interested in
Like they make it bigger.
DOD billionaire can control where you go. I mean, just to show up on a show. I thought that was pretty extreme.
Swear one of them just saw me.
So
That is
this is
crazy.
yeah, it is. So this is the level where it's at. It's almost like it's a war of the narrative now, because what the intelligence agencies can do and what they've been experts at, and they're experts at this since the Kennedy assassination and before, is they can prep the narrative and lay the groundwork for the whole thing. And that's what I think we see a lot with the UFO file. But it's front and center in the 2024 presidential election because you've got Trump. And Trump has a huge family line with the UFO file, and so does Bobby Kennedy. And now they're both working together. That's a big upset.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a volcano.
Okay, let's pin that conversation because I want to hear what their connections are. What do you think the Project Bluebeam's going to look like? I mean, I personally believe, you know,
Bro, where'd he
I have
go?
this weird.
Oh shit!
I have weird feelings towards Elon Musk. Like, there's part of me that likes a lot of the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Twitter's been personally good for me in some ways. But there's also
Fuck is
this
he?
kind of like march towards transhumanism that I'm very nervous about. You know, the new robots got rolled out, and you know those are like the flip phone version of these robots. It's, you know, what they have back at DARPA's got to be like next level insane. That they haven't rolled out yet.
Yeah.
So he definitely, you know, he's showing up in Bathmit, costumes and stuff like that. Johnny has explained why that might not be as crazy as we might think, but
Holy shit! There's
you
dudes
know,
in the
like,
house too.
what do you think it looks like? Because part of me thinks this Starlink that he's doing is like going to be the AV unit of this whole show that
see
he
them.
puts on, like the lights and the visuals and the sound and all that. You know, IMAX, Dolby Digital sound. You know.
So you're thinking that all the Starlink he sells, he's going to use all of them individually to create the Starlink,
The blue
Project
beam,
Bluebeam?
yeah. Like that could
yeah.
be like, just kind of think of it in a way of like almost like the sphere
Like a
in
projection grid or something, right? Some kind of
yeah,
grid.
like just a sphere in Vegas where you're kind
is
of
he?
looking up and it's just like he's got everything.
There he is.
And he could just be, I mean, if we're going with holograms and stuff like that.
Oh, I see him way over there.
possible, But what do you think it looks like?
No, it's a really good point, and that's exactly how they could do it. And he's an interesting figure because he's really 5 people in one. Let's face it. I mean, he's like the Howard Hughes of the 21st century, and it's also very, very mysterious if you go into his background even a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, his,
right.
His
Right.
mother was, and his whole family was part of this archaeological thing, looking for this lost civilization in South Africa. I mean, what's going on there? So instantly, right out of the gate. But I think he's largely controlled by DARPA because you couldn't do the things that he does without them. They're the ones. So he's acting like a front man. But like you said, there's also this like, oh, I support free speech, I'm in it to win it, and all that kind of thing. I think the problem is it's twofold. One, you have a breakaway group, and they've been operating with this secret technology for at least 80 years. I say a lot longer.
So crazy.
Yeah. And so what they're working on is how do you break back into civilization? Now with the publicly funded government, you know, creating all this stuff, creating the space program, and then you cut off the moon missions, the manned moon missions in 1972, you don't go back, right? For 52, 53 years, they're planning Artemis now. What'd you do in between? So that's all secret now. So that's the secret space program, right? That whole piece is just sitting out there, but they've been working on it in the background. So the breakaways try to break back in here, and what do? They come along with Musk, they come along with, you know, the high-tech end, and then right now he's like, oh, I don't believe in UFOs, but that'll change because if he's got real satellites out there, he sees the stuff all the time, regardless of its origin, you know? So some people might say, oh, this is an off-world group here. Some people say, well, there's something here, this advanced that's been operating side by side, parallel. And I think to go in either direction because it's not very clear.
Interesting.
Yeah, on the evidence side, it's not very clear.
That's super interesting because the question becomes, what is it? UFOs, you know, if someone goes, I saw a UFO, I would go, okay, that's military most likely.
Why not
and
both, by the way? Why not both? Why possibly?
That's the question. What is it? Is it like, you know, we've had people come on that talked about Aleister Crowley, and he would talk about how like demons were going to be remade into a renamed into something.
Yes.
You know, he would
Yeah.
talk about aliens
Ow.
and stuff like that.
Shit.
So are these aliens? Are they from other planets? Are they from other dimensions? Are they demons, angels? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Crowley there because if you look at that early version of what he put out as an entity that was communicating with him, it's named Lamb. And I don't know if you've seen those pictures, but it basically looks like a grave. So, you know, and he's doing all that interaction with these beings. He's conjuring these beings. But Crowley is not, he wasn't just a black magician. This was a hardcore inside mystery guy.
Yes.
And he came out of Golden Dawn, and you know, it was funny because all the Mason groups were like, "Hey, every time you write a book, we have to change all our rituals because you're letting too many secrets out." So, you know, we know that Crowley was associated with the NASA program through Parsons, and you know, his protege, who sets up the ritual in Los Angeles, and you know, he's doing all the stuff with Marjorie Cameron, the witch of L.A., and they do, you know, Babylon Rising and those rituals in the desert, 1947. It is interesting.
It
that
does
that
look
stuff
like an
happens
alien.
at the same time.
The
Yeah,
lamp.
there's lamps.
Yeah.
Bingo. And really, you can see it looks. I mean, the head is just like a gray. It's rather fascinating. It's got the big, oversized head on the regular-sized body. And then when we get into some of the rituals that he was doing, well, who is leading Crowley in the rituals? He's doing the most hardcore stuff from scrolls that were kept and rediscovered in the 19th century. He picks those rituals up. Nobody's touched those rituals probably since John Dee or someone like that. And then he gets involved in setting up NASA. So, you know, you're getting into a whole sky religion kind of
Oh
piece.
yeah, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so deep, and it's so deep. Nazis, you know, the more and more I think, because nobody can stop talking about Nazis now. It's gotten everybody's a Nazi. You know, it's like no matter what you do, if if you don't drink almond milk, you're a Nazi. I don't know. There's like it's like ridiculous right now, but the Nazis, like this weird kind of love affair that suddenly everybody's having with Hitler on Twitter. It drives me effing nuts. But for me,
That was the Ye thing too. He came out and he's like, "I love Hitler. I love the way he dresses." You know, what's going on back there?
Yeah, I have no clue. Now all this stuff starts coming out about him and the P. Diddy parties, and now we got this weird audio that who knows if it's real. It's just who knows if it's real, but he's talking about pizza boxes, and it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
Yeah, it's super crazy whether it's AI and what AI is going to do this. But back to the Nazi thing, it's like the connections between the occult and then Antarctica and all of that and Operation High Jump, and it's just so much deeper than like anyone even like we can have this conversation. I can have a conversation with you on it, but people are just so like detached from any of this information. Like.
Yeah.
Like what do you, I mean, like what are your whole thoughts on all that? Like what did they go down there and see? Did they have a meeting at the White House? Is the missing 411 for real? Because that's kind of the deal they made. Like I know that's a lot of questions all over the place, but you know,
It's
I mean,
good.
like
It's good. Actually, when I'm done with this, I'm going to ask you about what you hear in entertainment circles about that whole Diddy situation. But I will say this about everything you're bringing up here about Antarctica, and this is very important because I'm actually releasing something on November 22nd about Antarctica and the Kennedy assassination. And so this is very kind of key piece, I think, with Antarctica. First of all, it's inaccessible for average people. Actually, people know more about space than they do about Antarctica. You cannot get
it's
access.
crazy, dude.
Yeah. And the debriefing that goes on in the skiffs on their way out, you know, God knows if they don't just mind wipe some of them. And there's been a few whistleblowers who've come out of that system, but it is a very controlled environment. So around 2015, you had all these dignitaries going down there. Like John Kerry goes down as the Secretary of State. Then Buzz Aldrin goes down and he tweets weird things about evil. When he goes there, he's medically evacuated. So they're calling in NASA astronauts, they're calling in secretaries of state, and they call in basically the Pope of Russia to go down there. So something was going on. There's some discovery. Yeah, right around 2015, 2016, and it's right before the Obamas get out and the Trumps come in. So that's an interesting overlay. And I think what you have is a big, heavy presence of Lockheed Martin there, controlling the secrecy in and out. That's the biggest defense contractor we have going on, and they're running the place. So every once in a while you hear this weird thing about like Iran claims a certain part of Antarctica or India is claiming Antarctica. Everybody knows there's some major piece involved down there, but we don't hear about it as part of our regular kind of news cycle. if you go back into the Kennedy assassinations, the weirdest part of it all, I would say, which is that Lloyd Berkner is this physicist who went with Byrd to Antarctica, and Berkner is the person that JFK is going to meet when he's assassinated. So he's going at the Trade Mart to meet Lloyd Berkner, the physicist, and they're going to make some announcement together. That's on record. And when I started looking into Berkner, he's a key man in the Robertson panel, which is the first UFO investigation in '52. This is a member of the Majestic 12, so he's deep in the UFO file, and he hangs out there in this weird Antarctica on one side, UFO file piece on the other, until Kennedy's going to meet him in 1963. Now, they never have the meeting at the Trade Mart. Obviously, Kennedy gets assassinated on the way. But there's a lot of things about the speech that Kennedy didn't give at the Trade Mart with Berkner. And the only thing that I found on record from Berkner's files was that Kennedy had flown in a flag from the White House to hand to him at the ceremony. So what were they going to say? Hey, we're going to the moon with the Russians? Were they going to announce the UFO file? This is the nature of the mystery around Berkner. So I started to look at deeper things with Antarctica and history, and there's another
1200. Holy shit!
Piece with Antarctica, because you have the Texas School Book Depository being owned by D.H. Byrd. That name sound familiar? Well, it's the same name as Admiral Byrd. He's his cousin. D.H. Byrd, the oil man.
Damn, loot is definitely looking good this raid.
Admiral Byrd, who went to Antarctica, and guess who paid for all the missions? D.H. Byrd. Well, he's the guy that Oswald is going to log into the building for. He owns the building.
Well, hold on. So Admiral Byrd's cousin owns the building that what Oswald was going to go into?
Yeah, Oswald is in the Texas School Book Depository working for $1.25 an hour stacking books, right? And he gets this job 6 weeks before Kennedy's going to take that route. Nobody even knew Kennedy was coming to Texas at that point. So they install him in this building, as a patsy, basically. But the person who owns the building that he gets hired through is D.H. Byrd. D.H. Byrd is, they call him Dryhold Byrd because he's an oil man down in Texas. But his big claim to fame is he's the cousin of Admiral Byrd, who goes to Antarctica, Richard Byrd. That's his cousin. And he funds all the missions to Antarctica. So when Kennedy is going by that building, he's going by the funder of all the Antarctica missions.
Dude, that is so crazy.
It is.
All super connected.
It is.
Hey guys, the crypto market is getting crazy, dude. Bitcoin's almost over 70,000.
Should we go up here?
You gotta look into the crypto market, and there's no better person than James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. He will take you through it. Listen, guys, has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still have done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto's complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like so many have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just got copy on it. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. Just simply copy along. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each, it went on to be well worth $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out, called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said to buy it, okay? That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in the 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who have copied James, then pause what you're doing and head over to CopyMyCrypto.com/TFH. That's CopyMyCrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my viewers will get a full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of it? Guys, don't waste your time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. Guys, it's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. Copymycrypto.com/TFH.
Surprised there's no enemies
it's
over
World
here.
Series time. I'm excited. You know why? Because as a kid, I used to love to collect cards.
This area feels
Johnny
way
collects
more
cards. I'm a collector. I'm an
way more
antiquer.
developed
I love it, and there's
than it
no
was the last
better
time I was
place
here.
to buy, sell, trade, you name it, with cards. Than Arena Club.
This
Let
scared
me
me.
tell you about Arena Club. For the most of us collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a, I don't know, a Mahomes rookie card just isn't in the cards. I love collecting. Johnny does too. But that's some
Nothing?
real serious money to drop. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclubs.com, now it's possible to score gems minted for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all the possible cards, and clear hit rates on each one of them. Johnny, what has your experience been?
I will say the first time I got a slab pack from Arena, I hit on this huge Mike Trout red of 5 card, PSA 10, beautiful card. I'm still holding on to it. It's worth quite a lot of money. It's a ton of fun. I also have quite a few of the cards in my collection on there. You can go check me out. I search my name, Johnny Woodard, on Arena Club. I'm on there all the time. Love it. Great service. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping,
441.
selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card was scored. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out.
So listen, right now Arena Club is giving us a great deal. Right now you
Might as
get
well go get this
10%
up
off
here.
your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/tinfoil and use the code tinfoil. That's arenaclub.com/tinfoil, code tinfoil for 10% off your first purchase.
Because Oswald gets hired for temporary, like they didn't need him or something. I don't know if you ever look into it. Yeah, he was a temporary. They didn't really need him, but he somehow gets the job. And yeah, he must have been. He must have had the hookup. Someone owned the building there. Yeah, that really. Yeah, it was a temporary. He wasn't there for like. Yeah, he hadn't been working there for all that long. It was like a temporary job, like Christmas seasonal.
That is so crazy.
It is.
That is.
Look at
so...
Oswald. Oswald has a weird background. That summer, he's working for Guy Bannister, and everybody, you know.
I feel like this is changed.
They do a section on Guy Bannister, but
I feel like this is different than the last time I was here.
In fact, about Bannister. Bannister, he was hard right. He was to the right until the hunt, and then Oswald's supposed to be ultra.
Yeah, this is different than the last time I was here.
Leaflets pro Fidel Castro. So how is he working for the most right-wing guy in New Orleans?
I never
go back. Yeah, this is the problem with it. If you track back a little bit with Bannister, in 1947, he's the chief of the FBI in Chicago, and they send him through the Northwest. And what does he do? He's investigating the first UFO sighting. That's what Bannister's job is. And he comes up with the X nomenclature.
Says it's over
like
here.
the Security X files, that whole thing. That's all Guy Bannister. So when you move that up to 1963,
Oh, is that down there? Wait, is that it
15
there?
years later, Oswald is
I think that's it
working for him
there.
in the summer,
The fuck?
and he's handing out leaflets, infiltrating student groups, that whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's on the
So
ground.
you've got a UFO stamp around Oswald right off the bat. And it's interesting because when they did the first major investigation after the Warren Commission, they had the Garrison hearings and Garrison trial. And Garrison, when he went to interview all those employees who worked...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Oswald at Wiley Coffee Company, was kind of like a regular job. He was working there in the warehouse.
I think I'm too high up, though.
He left, and he said he was going to NASA. He said he had a job at NASA. So whenever you get around the Kennedy assassination, airspace, you know, very often I say to people, forget about the Cubans, forget about the mafia and all that stuff. It's the real heft in that situation is all airspace.
Well, okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've had guests in the past talk about on the show is how there's very few things all the countries agree on. There's very few things, and there's two of them. Antarctica, space.
Okay, where was it?
They could be on the verge of nuclear war, and they would still all agree to work together on space and on Antarctica. So there's something there. You know, we've had people on the show say that they thought, and it sounded crazy when he said it, but I kind
Still
of
another
like,
one?
well, maybe there's something there, that like NASA is the highest level of the intelligence agencies. That all of these agencies are kind of under NASA because it's the one thing they all agree on. You know, even when we think about this space station that suddenly appears in the sky, that we're told it's up there, who's working on it together? Russians and Americans, who are like both like threatening nuclear war with each other,
Right.
but somehow, hey man, in space
Can't see
we
it,
don't
dude.
get along. Let's try to figure out if we can find some bacteria out here, right? It's interesting to me. And then again, you get into America and how it's like no matter where you are and who you are and what your political
Oh, there it
religious
is.
beliefs are, you're working with other people on Antarctica and like having bases and underground stuff and all that shit. It's like it's so crazy to me how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Well, there's no question. I think what it is there's a secrecy level that is so disconnected from regular public life that over time the split became larger and larger and larger. So you have this kind of totally separate lanes of society, and that breeds a kind of schizophrenic situation because the secrecy.
We go
becomes
down
so
here. I don't
heavy,
think I've ever
how do
been
you
down here
tell
before.
people? You know, they've gone off. The problem is with the science facts, once they discover things, they're starting to move from science discovery to science discovery. But if the regular public is left behind on that, you know, these guys are developing age extension technologies. You know, they're going to live to 150 to 200 years. How do you balance that out with the regular public? Can you fake your death when you get to 100 every time? I mean, so we get into weird things on this, but here's the key, I think, when you're looking at the secrecy aspect. You're talking about space, and think about it this way. If Kennedy's big opening with space, he wanted to have a joint mission to the moon with the Russians. So that was anathema to NASA, because the people who were involved with setting up NASA, from Braun and his whole group that came out of the German rocket program, those guys from Paperclip are deep. They have a deep political animus with Russia. They've just killed 30 million Russians.
Yeah, dude.
So they don't want to share, you know, the UFO file with the Russians. And Kennedy is asking to do this. One of the memos that came out, I think, which is dramatic. Yeah. He's actually saying something that nobody else had said. He said, I want you to get me all of the deep, heavy cases on the UFO side. I'm going to share them with the Russian counterpart. So he sends the memo November 12th of 1963. And they never respond. You know, they're like, oh, yeah. So, but he's saying we want to do this because we don't want them to think there's a nuclear incident because a UFO flies over one of their nuclear bases. So Kennedy was very adept on the UFO side. I think that's a piece of history that needs to be opened up as well, because one of the deep players in Majestic 12, in the early UFO file, is Forrestal.
Can I grab my backpack?
Forrestal is a Kennedy family friend. He takes Kennedy to Berlin after the war, when Kennedy's a journalist just walking around. He's not even a politician yet. And Forrestal has shepherded him. But if you go through that whole thing, the problem with Forrestal, he's the first Secretary of Defense, and he's like, let's share the UFO file. You know, this makes the most sense. And they're that's anathema to the national security state. So Forrestal is unceremoniously dumped out of a window at Bethesda Naval Hospital.
What?
Yeah.
Is
And
that the famous guy on acid story?
Going back.
that's
How
Frank
much
Olson.
weight do I have here?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing they did there.
Oh, I
as
can
well.
carry a lot more.
It's kind of the same technique.
Bro, you're like a choose your own adventure. It's like no matter what you bring up, you can spider web into like something for a whole hour. It's so interesting, dude. It's so interesting, dude. Everything you're saying is so mind-blowing because everyone's like, it's CIA, it's Mossad, it's the Federal Reserve, and then you're like, oh, it could be aerospace.
Oh yeah.
That is not. Did anybody ever? Would anyone here on the show ever?
I feel like I'm committing too much. I should go
aerospace
back,
enters
sleep,
the chat?
and go out tomorrow for these back ones here.
The bingo? Not the bingo.
I'm doing that.
I would never, ever guess aerospace enters the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think what they've done, not only did they cover up the official story, and the Kennedy thing is sort of like the blueprint for the rest of the societal development going forward. That's the social engineering blueprint. And what they did was they covered up the original crime, which is a coup that takes place, and then they had a secondary story built in. If you didn't like that original one, then you had this mafia thing. But you know, I always found that very thin on the mafia side because mafia can't cover up things in the media, for example. The mafia can't change autopsies. You know, mafia can't influence the entire national security state to stop looking into the case. It doesn't make any sense. So if it was just the mafia, they would have let that out a long time.
These things are creepy.
So the
It's not bad though when you got a
mafia,
pistol that
operates at the very
can
bottom level of the deep state with all this.
Yes.
The CIA,
one or two shot them.
So, you know, they're getting, we know things about the cases of you know, the Cuban part where they try to assassinate Castro and all the rest. But that's one limited kind of picture of the whole thing. And, you know, the fact we used gangsters, certainly in the 50s and 60s, to assassinate people. But on the level of the presidency, you know, this is a totally different operation. You need something that is clandestine, and it comes from a very high echelon of power that reaches way outside of the mafia, you know. So that always came up very thin for me. But aerospace,
Should be enemies
especially the
here.
secrecy around aerospace. I call the group X Protect because their whole mission is to protect their knowledge around
X Protect. I like
X
that.
Protect, yeah. And the way to look at them is, look, they've got this exotic technology. They don't want anyone else to share it, any other country. They don't want to share it with the public, but they want to still continue to use it. So if somebody in public gets close to that thing, what do you do? If you have a president who wants to share it, that's anathema, I think, to those guys. So the X Protect group, you know, they shoot down the X Share. The people who want to share it and move the culture forward, forget it. You know,
And
they're
then if they
outnumbered.
do share, you got to wonder if it's real information or just misinformation to send you out in certain ways. Here's the craziest thing. I know this is one of the, when this show started cooking with gas, my friend Eddie Bravo's like, let's put on a comedy show where we go talk conspiracies, and then it just ended up us doing dick jokes, but it's still like that was the initial design of the show. The first t-shirt we ever made, XG, do you remember what it was?
The alien with
Alien shot JFK. And we thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever, and now here we are. We're like, there might be actually something behind that. That is so
Dead?
crazy to me.
I think it's dead.
That is
See, that's
so-
interesting. By the way, comedy is an excellent way to open people up to deeper topics. So, you know, that's a very interesting place that you occupy, I think, with all of it.
I think it is. I think you have to sit in the pocket with people now because they're spoon-fed so much hot garbage in comedy right now. It's become way beyond like keep it simple, stupid. That they're willing to go with it, but you just gotta sit in the pocket and spit the truth. I realized this a couple nights ago too. It's just like people are hungry for this stuff, and just nobody's giving it to them because everybody's trying to put on a show for the suits to get the opportunities to audition and all that stuff. And
Holy
nobody's
fuck,
really
going
taking
outside.
the
Being
audience.
inside and
The
stepping
audience-
outside is just super scary.
No, that's my opinion. I
Can't
think
even
people
explain it.
We're living in the
There's
crazy,
nothing in
one
here,
of
is
the
there?
craziest
Just
times
those
ever,
bullets.
At least the appearance of it based on social media, and nobody's talked about it. I say this all the time. We have another show where Johnny and I talk, and I talk about how the Hollywood comedy scene is like the band on the Titanic, and they're just like playing as the boat is going under, and you know. And I think you're right. I think there's a real need for people to start really getting into this stuff and talking about it. And I think it's important, but you know, again, it's like layers upon layers upon layers. Just when you think you know, the JFK assassination is one. 9/11 and JFK are very similar in the fact that I think there's so many layers to it, and everyone has their layer, and they're convinced their layer is the layer that is the reason it happened, and all the other layers are just like psyops and crazy. When in reality, they're all probably right because they were all probably working together.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And that's true. You see a lot of factions, but some of that's promoted, by the way. They take a natural disagreement and inflate it. And you see that on the UFO side, I think, with a lot of the things, like I mentioned, the whole TTSA.
All right, let's go cash in.
Thing. They've tried to splinter, and it's weird because he himself said, yeah, I'm a counterintelligence guy. I do counterintelligence. My mission is to splinter the UFO field. What? So, yeah, he said it on the record, and he's a very interesting character because he's come out over and over again and lied publicly. So this guy said, well, I headed up this program, I did this and that. Now he's changed his tune. Well, I didn't head up the program, and he over and over again has done this, but then he's not called to account. What they do, they actually put him on Comedy Central with his book recently, so that's pretty wild. But
Was it The Daily Show?
It was The Daily Show, and they put him up there. Yeah, his book is called Imminent, and it's this most ridiculous thing that makes him a hero, And so I went a little into his background. What they said about Elizondo was, the New York Times story came out and said he's a whistleblower. He quit his job because he didn't feel the government was giving the public the real thing on the UFO file. But when I went into it, I found out that he hadn't resigned his job. He still worked for the government, one. He was not a whistleblower at all, and he'd been a CIA counterintelligence guy for 25 years. Well, that's a lot different than what they're spinning out there. And they've just continued to spin that with him in that whole group. And it's not just him. I mean, it just represents the wave of intelligence getting involved in prepping the narrative for... they're all about the UFO threat. That's their thing. And so they've created the grounds for a UFO defense office. And they have something in government. Yeah. They have something in government.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say...
This should be a good haul.
The info they do release, is that disinfo, or is it just a piece of the pie that they want
Just
us
those
to have?
alone, 1100, hell yeah.
The disclosure stuff.
No, they do mix it. They're so far ahead of anything they put out or anything that we've heard about. I'll tell you one interesting trial balloon. There's two things that you can take to the bank in terms of what they've been up to. Here's one of them. So last February, they did the whole Chinese balloon thing.
Yeah.
Where this balloon was going across the United States, and they said, oh, NORAD's never encountered balloons before. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
We have laws against balloons, wartime defenses, since the Japanese sent over poison balloons in World War II.
Yes, and nobody talks about that, kind of invaded America, and no one ever brings it up, like the slowest attack of all time.
Unbelievable.
Damn, look at that haul.
With poison balloons over Oregon and Washington State. So we put in all these things.
$7,000 I have. I can buy some new stuff now. Let's go shopping,
we've
boys.
Done it for years, and so they send out the NORAD commander during this whole thing, and he says, "Oh, we're shooting down."
Buy another thing of food. More crackers.
And the New York Times has a headline: UFOs shot down.
Okay, so let's look at this armor here.
That is the test balloon. That is, can the public handle this idea that there are UFOs?
Okay, I could buy a helmet.
And then if you look at the NORAD commander, he occupies an interesting position. Because if you signal...
See, I can't tell what's tier 2 now, like I'm pretty sure all the helmets are tier 2.
The leader of NORAD is the Continuity of Government COG commander.
Should probably buy a helmet.
He's the Northcom combatant commander. He actually takes over the entire United States in the event of an emergency.
Oh shit, it even shows it.
In this case, if you had a UFO emergency, he becomes the president. And so with Continuity of Government, regional governors.
Yes. So crazy.
All right, there's the new helmet. So what are these?
So
I can buy this now too. Holy shit.
So much of what we're seeing is just trying to convince us.
So what good is this one?
No hope, and we need martial law, which will take
capacity
all of our
300
civil rights and the Constitution, just set it on fire, and they never give back the powers ever again. Like it'll never happen. It's
absolutely
so crazy.
Capacity 300.
Well, they had, remember the military overthrow in Egypt? They're like, we're just
capacity 300 carrying gear with no armor protection, customizable with extra pouch holsters and carry bonds. Oh, it's got the shoulder one. I see.
You're so right.
that the only
That's why
difference?
I don't like the setup with Northcom.
This one
because
is what's this one?
Northcom didn't even exist before 9/11, so they set it
So
up.
what's
after
is this just different
9/11.
colors? I
Northcom
guess.
is
I think it's
Northern
just different
Command.
colors. I
They
think these are
control the
exactly the
United
same.
States now, literally.
So this one
And,
comes
so
equipped, it looks
Northcom
like.
can be called in at any time to set up martial law.
So it's
style.
got like
They
the
never
larger
had that
mag
before
holders,
9/11. So, you know, it changed.
bigger
that
more
already
mag
fundamentally
pouches,
changed
and the
America. It's
shoulder.
completely extra constitutional activity. And I think when you look at that, you see, okay, they already have a plan.
I'm tempted.
Everything else fails. They have this emergency.
There's this
plan.
one
I'm
here.
not
That's
saying that
nice
they're
too.
going to
Maybe I
rush
should
in
just like
tomorrow and set off COG, but you do
just a
hear
little
them
dick
talk
at another
about it
couple of
lot.
raids
It
and
used
buy
to be
this one. You know,
completely
like why would I buy this
Did
one if
not
I'm going to
talk
upgrade
about
to
it.
this one?
And if you go through the history of continuity of government, it was the most secret program after the UFO file. And the other thing that I think we can take to the bank on the UFO thing and why it's
Wait, what's the
real
difference
behind
here?
the scenes is
Here,
there's a physicist named Robert Sarbarker that I cite
just the
over and
color.
over again because
Looks exactly the
he
same.
was deep in the government. He was basically the Oppenheimer of his day, and he was. On
Wait,
the
I think
cover
it's
of
left and
Time
right hand,
magazine,
isn't it?
Saturday Evening Post and all this kind of stuff. And Sarbarker said the UFO file is a higher classification than nuclear weapons. So the secrecy factor is higher with the UFO file. And then in the 80s, these investigators recontacted him and said, "Hey, you know, what was it you said in the 50s about this?"
So
And he said,
where's the
"Well,
large?
we
Just
worked
gonna
on
put this on the
UFOs,
back
we
here.
redeveloped them. And we even found the beams
can,
inside
here
were
we go.
structured. Somebody had made them.
I'll
They were
buy one of
like-
these.
And he said, "I don't know why they never let that information out." So Sarbarker is a physicist major who went on the record. It wasn't just some whistleblower or some guy in the background that you couldn't verify. Sarbarker was like the top physicist in the country.
Nice.
So we know for a fact they were working.
Ooh, that's nice.
And the fact that they never let that information
Okay, we'll
out
go with
tells
that. I don't
me
want to
they've
upgrade
been
to this
developing
one.
it along the lines in the background.
Or this one.
That's the breakaway.
This is the same one I have,
technology
right? It's just got all the pockets and
it-
shit.
It continues on.
So I've said this. And then we'll get to yours. Hold on, Xavier. I've said this before, and it's always met with mixed reaction of either whatever, dude, or what are you talking about?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna save up for this one
I
then.
really do believe that they have hardwired mysticism. You know, when you get into
Guns,
the
guns,
occult and all
guns.
that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think they've been spending
So I can buy the
thousands and
G36 now?
thousands of years working on how to replicate
Mm.
these dark magic spells so that
It's a lot of money, though.
replicates 100% of the time, all the time. I mean, you just talked about mind erasing. I mean, mind erasing, direct energy weapons. This is reading my thought. I mean, like, this is all Doctor Strange stuff that they've just hardwired, and everybody
Bison.
everybody's just like, you know, I mean, like, everyone's like, oh, this technology is just like, it's so advanced, it's like so technical and robotic. Like, no, dude, it is mysticism, dude. It's so much of it is mysticism. The little robot stuff, that's just smokescreen stuff to me. Time travel, I'm sure.
Chaos Braden, what's up,
all
man? This
this
is
stuff they've
Into
been
the
talking
Radius
about.
2.
I forget what the name of the
2.
of the
Yeah, it's the sequel to Into the
technology
Radius,
that,
Part 2.
Hillary Clinton supposedly
It's in early
used
access on
to
Steam.
see the future, and
I think
it's-
it came out
it
on
might be
Quest too. It might be on
Looking
Quest
Glass,
as well. I'm not
yeah.
100%
Yeah.
sure.
Like that.
$8,000 for the
Like, what are your
SKS.
thoughts on that? I mean, I feel like you're the
16,000
best
for the
person I
modded
could
SKS.
possibly
Holy
ask this
shit.
question to. Do
That's
you think
expensive.
I'm
This is what I
onto
want right
anything?
here.
That we're in, like, we
That's
have
my
Doctor
goal.
Strange
This gun right here.
technology that and they've
I
only
can't wait to use that.
rolled out a little of it.
Sniping in this game would be so
And we
fun.
have, like, Storm from Marvel Comic, like, controlling the weather. They're literally manipulating the weather right now. Like what are your
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Well, we had, I mean, LBJ in 1961 gave a big speech about weather modification. So we know they have it. You know, if he was talking about it then, and we had a Secretary of Defense who went on record during the Clinton administration, and he spit it out during a Senate hearing. William Cohen, he said, "Oh, we have weather modification technology." So we know that they have it. They don't like to talk about that, of course. But the psychic part that you're talking about is interesting, because Russell Targ, who was the guy who set up the remote viewing program, he was a physicist. He set it up for the CIA, but then he got away from them because he didn't like what they were doing with it. And I've had many conversations with him and interviews. And what he told me was that when he met Werner von Braun, that von Braun was very interesting because his mother was psychic. And people would come to von Braun's mother for predictions, you know, for relationships, for national happenings. Official people would come to her. So von Braun already was psychic. What he asked Russell Targ to develop over at SRI was a machine that could test the astronauts' ESP, because he said, I only want to send people into space who have the most advanced.
Okay, I think I'm good. I might go buy
So he
like one
created
more
a machine.
heal.
Actually, there's still a version
One or
of
two
it
more
that exists,
heals.
the ESP testing machine. So what you're talking about with the Tide there, in order to operate that technology, they need people that are psychically advanced. That's where the crossover between, you know, remote viewing and studies of psychic stuff in government
Check my
programs
gun.
come from. That's why they're interested in it, and they are very interested.
Dude, that is
Whoa.
so crazy, man.
I know when Tarek said that, I was like, it makes sense that von Braun's mother was psychic. You know, like
That totally makes sense. Johnny doesn't believe in psychics. My family's psychic. We have a baby that
That's
sees
not
dead
true at all.
people.
I don't believe
That-
you're a psychic.
Oh, you believe von Braun's family's a psychic, but you don't believe my Sicilian grandmother was psychic.
Correct. You understand.
Okay. We have a baby that sees dead people. Okay, just please stop.
If you're a psychic, you would
Love
know
these
that
guys.
I believe in psychics, just that you're not a psychic. So.
Hey guys, listen, we're getting closer and closer to November 5th. Remember, the 5th of November.
Yeah, dude.
okay?
I wouldn't play it if it wasn't fun.
Is this election
I
close?
gotta
Who do
sleep,
you trust?
shower, and
Polls,
sleep.
The talking heads, the podcasters. You know who I trust? The traders. That's who I trust. The traders are the best at it, and there's no better place to find out what the traders are thinking than Kelshi. Now, Johnny's done it. I've done it. We've all done it. We've done some. You can go in there and actually
All right.
place some trades on who do you think's gonna win, who do you think's gonna lose, right, Johnny? I mean, tell us about Kelshi.
Have some
Johnny.
breakfast.
Well, Kalshi, I mean, it's the first place that you can trade on
Wait, I just
the
bought.
election in 100 years. The first place to legally trade on the election in 100 years.
Oh, I didn't pay for my
You can
shit.
also
Fuck, I gotta go
exchange,
rebuy
trade,
everything.
bet on any event. I mean, they have a look. You got their website pulled up actually. What's some of the stuff there? They have
it's crazy.
political stuff. But if you go down, they have like what's going to be the Rotten Tomatoes score of the next season of The Witcher. You know, I mean.
Whoa,
all
really,
kinds- I
dude?
mean-
You bet on all this, dude. This is what we're talking about. This is the action Daddy's looking for.
Here we go.
I
Wait.
love Coach Heat, and I love the traders. Whoa, Will
Oh,
Kemp-
dude, look at will Joe
Whoa.
Rogan have? Look at that. Will Trump have Joe Rogan on? It's
Dude,
already
you got-
pretty much.
I didn't
he'll make
buy any of
$1.
the things that I
Yeah,
picked up.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh
so
my
I wanted to
God.
get
Yeah, because it's crazy, dude.
couple
This
things
is
of
where we're at, man.
crackers.
Nobody knows what's real. What polls? Nothing. Nobody knows. Well, guess what?
I wanted to get a
No
weapon
shit.
holster.
Elon
Tell
Musk
Sheets the
nominated to the
place to do.
cabinet.
Oh, dude, that'd be the best, dude. Kelshi
This-
has already facilitated over $1 billion in trades. The election markets are now live to trade, and you could sign
There.
up at Kelshi, which
now
is
I can
put
my shotgun on my shoulder.
.com/TFH.
All right.
And the first 500 traders who deposit $50 will get free $20.
Is he in on it? Is he just goes on Rogan? Do they let him go and talk? Is he? What do you?
What?
He did. Oh yeah.
He ran a hooker ring, dog. Nobody.
Bob
ever
Lazar
said
was a
that.
pimp?
In Nevada. Oh
Joe
yeah.
had that guy that
No.
ran hookers again on his show. Nobody ever said that. And who was he running hookers to? Aliens, dude?
This is kind of post-alien work.
Okay.
But
okay.
Really?
There's-
What?
There's a very
After
dicey.
he's done with the aliens, he went and ran hookers. What? That's the craziest
no question
story I've
about
heard
it,
the
yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, if you look at Lazar, what you have is kind of a snapshot of a deep state player, but someone who's very easy to blackmail in that sense. But here's the interesting thing about him: did he have low-level jobs in ultra-secure facilities? I think he did. Yeah, and I think that he was around this stuff. But the way that they put him out there back then, that was the op at the time. You know.
Dude, I can
And
hear
the
my
op at the
shotgun
time
over
was
my
to put
shoulder.
Area 51 on the map. They had already moved.
That's what it
all
is.
of this. You know, Area 51 is our fantasy for the
That's so
90s,
cool.
It's the
right?
gift shop of the
Yeah, I can hear my shotgun on my shoulder.
It's this like,
is,
hey,
yeah.
get a towel, get a miniature. There we go.
Dan, that's
Thank you
actually
for
really
coming
cool.
back next year.
So I guess
They
the
still
more
have
armor you
Cheers
wear and the more
Museum
shit you wear,
you know,
Yeah,
so it's-
yeah.
it's
the
reminds me of
heavier you
that.
feel and the louder you sound.
Because like the whole thing is, So the whole thing is, the real base is in the mountains, like 10 miles away, right? There's like a carved out mountain that is where where the real crazy stuff is, and 51 is the kind of.
Damn. Look at this. What does that say? In 1999, Lazar was arrested for evading a prostitution ring.
Right, yes.
Oh my God.
No, why do we
Wow.
not know that? Why does that not ever get mentioned?
So one of my friends, he drives me nuts, but he is my friend, Trevor Cavallo. He lives in Chicago now, but this fits into your theory about Bob Lazar being like a low-end job that they kind of let see this stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe in hopes so that he'll go tell people about it in this weird kind of way, like Bill Cooper would be like, they showed me this, so I would tell people about it.
Yes.
That's what Bill Cooper. So
You can call it a dangle.
Oh, it's called a dangle?
It is, yeah.
So this sounds like exactly like a dangle. So his dad was like a handyman at the Chicago Institute of Art or something like that in Chicago, and he said one day he gets a call, and he gets a call from a lower level they'd never been to, but they needed something fixed down there. So he goes down to the lowest level, and he gets off the elevator, and it is a weird
What's down in here?
on this floor. And he walks down the hall, he looks in, and there's like they're running experiments on animals. They're pumping something into horses. There's
This
some
water?
And he's like,
Can I go
"What is
in
going
here?"
on here?" And he keeps walking, and he
I don't even know.
This giant hangar. And
Curious
he
about this
looks in
building
the
here.
hangar, and he says he sees a craft like he's never seen before.
Get this?
And he said on the craft was some gray thing just crawling around. He didn't know what it was. And then inside the craft there was some weird green stuff, he said. He goes, he's staring at it, and suddenly he turns around, there's guns pulled on him, go, "What are you doing in here? We're not supposed to be here." He's like, "I just got called to fix something." And they tell him, "Hey man, if you tell anybody, we're gonna take you down." So anyways, they let him go. He doesn't tell anybody.
Wow.
He goes on trips around the world, right? And he would just be on a trip, let's say he's going to Saudi Arabia. He would suddenly get pulled in during customs,
I see him.
sat in a room, and men in black would come in, sit down, and ask him if he told anybody about whatever he saw.
Yes.
And he would just leave. And Trevor said that his dad was not that creative to make up stories like that. And he didn't tell it. He wasn't told by his dad until very, very later
Oh,
end
shit.
of his life days. But that sounds like exactly what you're talking about.
Isn't that interesting? It is. And
I love, by the way, that Trevor could reach the most people that he knows the secret. You know, it's like
right now it's out there for sure.
Yeah, now it's everywhere. Trevor Cavallo.
Have you heard that one of the things we've put on the record is that there's a whole line of research about that the Men in Black are astral projections. They're not actually here.
What?
Yeah, and I'll tell you how this
what can I
works.
just say? I'm sorry, that would apply because how are they getting to an airport that fast? You know, if he's, you know what I mean? If he's been, they're not just Men in Black waiting outside. You know what I mean?
You know what's interesting? There's a story. Dan Aykroyd tells the story. You know, Dan Aykroyd's deep into the UFO file, and he tells a story that he was hosting a show on UFOs for the Sci-Fi Channel, and he's going to do Saturday Night Live, and this is like 2002, something like that, and he's on the cell phone with Britney Spears, and he's talking to her, and he looks over, two men in black with like a classic 1950s black car in black suits, the whole thing, are looking at him, and he felt very strange. And then he said he turned around and they were gone. And then 2 days later, he found out that his show, the whole thing he was working on, got canceled. The Sci-Fi Channel said, "We want to go another direction," and that stuff never came out. So Aykroyd went on record with that, totally serious, not kidding around. So there's a whole line of research about the Sami people who are
Fucking scared the crap out of me, dude.
in Finland, Scandinavia.
Fuck is he?
And they have very advanced psychic powers, and at a certain point, the U.S. government recruited the Samis. And so,
Still don't see him.
Thiel, who was one of the early UFO researchers, he did Mothman prophecies and all that whole thing. So when he was in the 60s, he got all these Men in Black cases, he went to all the witnesses, and he was like, I have a problem with this. They're saying everybody is Asian.
Bro, where the
Like,
fuck is
all
he?
the Men in Black location. What's going on with this? So he decided, I'm going to take a notebook of
he's way
every
back there.
person, of every type of race. So like Alaskans, Chinese, Russians, whatever. And I'm going to show them. And I'm going to drill down exactly who the people are who are visiting them. And he said not 10%, not 20%, not 50%.
He so like blends
He said
into the background and
100%
shit.
Identified the Sami people as the people who were visiting. Now it's very interesting when you get into the Sami, and you know they've called them Laplanders and things like that. But the very hardcore native population of the Sami, you know, and some of them are. If you look at Renee Zellweger, for example, she's a Sami, you know, and
Really?
yeah, and they have the kind of magical look to them.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's very crazy. They're almost like white, Asian almost, like in
Yes.
a kind of way.
So if you go into their history a little bit, they have a shamanic culture, which is incredibly advanced on the psychic level.
Holy shit.
And teleporting themselves on an astral level was very easy for them. So when I dug a little deeper on that, I found there was a gigantic migration of Samis into America, and the idea was, they're going to train us on how to handle raining. I'm sure that's an intelligence project, but once you start to get to that point, you start to realize all those stories about the men in black. You know, they walk through walls, they disappear, they do all these weird things they can't eat. When they look at you, they can give you a heart attack. All that stuff, that's all psychic. So that is an astral projection. That, to me, goes a lot further than just federal agents. That's the type of programs that we have, and that's the kind of, you know, dark journalism bubbling under, there's something else operational. And if you talk about it in a regular setting, you know, if you can imagine a front page story, psychics being used to terrorize UFO abductees, I mean, that's a weird title, right? But nonetheless, the evidence backs it up. And that's the interesting thing about somebody like Keel, who spent 40, 50 years on this. There's this gem just sitting in the middle of all of his research, and it's about the Sami.
That is so crazy. That is so crazy. And it's just like, it's so much deeper than anybody ever can imagine. And that's why when people go, oh, Occam Razor, I'm like, dude, no. Occam Razor is a psyop. Because
Oh,
it's
shit.
really way deeper than all that stuff. And,
Yes.
you know, so this is like,
Fuck was he, dude?
you know, like right now, there's a bunch of people like, oh, you know, Zionist this, and Marxist this,
Oh, yeah.
Nazis that, all this stuff. But for me, it's like, it's so much deeper than that. It's just so much deeper. It goes, in my humble opinion, goes way beyond the Abrahamic religions. I think Abrahamic religion stuff is, even though they seem to be hurling us towards these Abrahamic prophecies being fulfilled, I just think that's all just this kind of like middle management smokescreen to like what's really at the highest levels, which is this kind of occult, old, like Sumerian, Phoenician, Babylonians,
Yes.
like sorcery, magic, mysticism, whatever you want to, like, how based on what you've learned, and maybe this isn't your expertise, but I would love to hear if you have any thoughts on it, like, how high does the pyramid go, and who do you think's at the top of it?
Well, this is interesting because you have to go on an esoteric level with that. Because if you were looking at it just from a geopolitical level, that's why people come up with all these various things and say, you know, the Jesuits, the Masons, the Jews, whatever it would happen to be. None of that is a war.
Fuck is he?
It all becomes very stylized for one group to go after another group. No, if you really go into it, it's very interesting.
I see him.
Ezekiel in the Bible is a lot of things, I would say, that gives you a hint that something else is going on. And people always, you know, go back to this wheel within a wheel, and they're like, oh, he's looking at the alien vegetation, you know, like an ancient Indian script. But I've gone very deeply into the Edgar Cayce. Cayce gave 900 readings on Atlantis. And the guy was incredibly accurate on a mystical level. He could dive
Oh, this is
into
intense.
sitting there and give you a whole thing about your ailments and how to, you know, basically get back to a healthy state just by knowing your address. So, and Casey had 5 decades of documentation of doing this. When he got into giving readings about Atlantis, it's very interesting because somebody asked him, well, you're talking about Atlantean craft flying around, advanced 10,000, 20,000.
Damn, only got 30 bullets left.
Like, can you give us some example? Like, what did it look like?
Yikes.
And he
Start
said,
using my
well, it's
shotgun.
very much like Ezekiel's example, except that was much later. So this is very interesting because he's talking about this earlier civilization having advanced technology, and then Ezekiel talking about it maybe around 1000 BC. But who kept the technology in between the time when this great civilization was destroyed? So Casey gives us a lot of indications, and it's edgy. Actually, the foundation that promotes his work, the ARE, they don't know what to do with that because it's very edgy stuff. When they asked Casey, well, what did the Atlanteans do? Well, they controlled flight with their minds,
I'm pretty sure there's someone in here.
And they would also, they say, well, would they fly over mountains? How high was the altitude? He said, oh yeah, they would fly over mountains. They would fly through mountains. Dematerialization. So they had all kinds of advanced technologies back then. It's an older technology. So when you're getting into Egypt and the Mayas and all that, their legacy cultures from that advanced thing back there. So
holy shit!
Flight and our
Fuck, I knew he was going to be there and he still scared the shit out of me.
When we got into the 20th century, what Casey said is that, no, these aren't discoveries, actually. These are memories. So the people who are reincarnating are remembering the technology and plugging it back in. Yeah.
Whoa!
So the only problem is last time they basically blew it up, right? So this is the same group of Atlanteans. They come back in, they have the memory, they create the super sophisticated technology. By the way, I mean, in a very short period of time, we're talking about like 100 years here where we've gone from horse and buggy to space flight. So, we're on the advanced plan at this point.
Oliver, what's up, man? I can see you.
I think if you go, when you talk about the hierarchy and stuff, if you go back to Atlantis,
I just got to manually look at it.
Like Casey bringing that information out, the Steiner work. There's a whole mystery school edge around.
Usually I have text-to-speech, but today I'm just kind of want to be immersed in the game.
Before you get to us.
Throw on a podcast, get lost, Oh shit! Holy fucking crap! That scared me.
We've had people come out and say,
Bro, what the fuck?
Atlantis, a lot of people from Atlantis
Okay,
went
okay.
to Ireland. There's a big.
Oh god, I gotta take it. My heart, man, am I having a heart attack right now? Am I having a heart attack? No, I'm not having a heart attack. Okay, we're safe. We're safe.
Back far enough.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if I go like this,
my grandmother was Sicilian, and you study lost civilizations, hidden history of Florida. The Moors were most likely there. A lot of the stories we're told in our public schools aren't real.
Nice.
And then you kind of look at the culture that's pushed on those people and how it's kind of crazy, wild, drinking, partying, nuts, and
oh yeah.
Are they dumbing down this very powerful group of people with low vibrational stuff so they can never realize how super powerful they are because they were great conquerors, great navigators, great explorers, and stuff like that, and the history of Europe and what Europe is,
I think that's everything.
So
here,
what is interesting, and all that,
oh yeah.
How old do you think our world is?
Oh, it's a lot older. This whole thing, the way that we have civilization 6000 BC coming into being, it's absurd. And I think enough researchers have proven that, but I don't think they go far enough mystically. This is the interesting thing. And we had Graham Hancock up here. I did an event with him, and he's done
check over here
around how the Egyptians were in a legacy culture from something older. And a lot of those guys put the date of the destruction at 10,500 BC. It's interesting because that's Casey's date about when Atlantis went down, and they all went in different directions. Some of them went to the Mayans, some of them became the Incas, some of them became the Egyptians. But Casey does have a thing in there which is different, I think, from everyone else. He said that there's a hall of records under the Sphinx that the Atlanteans kept,
might as well pop it.
and that is going to open up the whole question around the origins of civilization, and that we haven't discovered that. And when they asked him, for details, he said, well, the Atlanteans placed it there. It's basically the world's oldest time capsule.
Yeah.
And and it's weird because he places the whole
check up here
pyramid at 10,500 BC, but if you go into his readings deeply, he'll say, yeah, when the Atlanteans were doing that, they were doing archaeology to find the best spot. So there was already a culture
Maybe
at
up
Giza
top?
Before 10,500
Let's check up top.
BC. So traditionally, the pyramids are 2,500 BC. The Sphinx is 2,500 BC. Casey moves it back to 10,500 BC, but he's saying they're placing that whole thing on a plateau that's
Nothing.
actually much older. So they want to
this
place the
boat? Nope,
record
there's
in the
something.
pyramids there in the right spot because it was the right spot a long time before them. So you're going back a long time, maybe 200,000.
Before even Atlantis, there was a civilization.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I know. So they're doing archaeology, right?
All right, so where do we got to
so
go
this
now?
Is the nature
Let's
of
see.
it. And I think the technology thing comes up in Casey's work. It does connect the psychic side, and I don't think you can leave out
Gonna go in here, looks like.
the kind of mystery school edge when it comes to things like advanced technology, because especially in Casey's work, he talks about the Two-Eye Stone, and long story short, on the Two-Eye Stone, it's T-U-A-O-I. It's a weird word. He uses it over and over again talking about the Atlanteans, but it's a gigantic power grid in that era during Atlantis. And we did a whole documentary on it called Hacking Atlantis, which is all about tracking that Two-Eye Stone grid. And he said at a certain point, it did the reverse. It pulled everything down. And so when you go into areas like the Bermuda Triangle, that whole thing, that's the technology operating backwards, creating vortexes and things of this nature.
Wait, can I get in here?
And he said if you want to find them, if you want to find
Wait,
the ruins of
what?
that civilization, you look off the coast of Bimini. It's already rising. So,
Holy
there's a
shit, I didn't know I could get in
thing
here.
There, I think, in the Casey readings about that
That's so
technological
cool.
grid, what they used, a gigantic power crystal grid. And so this is the rediscovery, I think, for us, of that ancient technology. And so that is a whole Hacking Atlantis thing, because, you know, people talk about it, and it's like, do you want to find an Atlantis that just had, like, pottery and stuff? No. The whole point is you hear things about something weird going on back there, an explosion. You know, Plato said it went down in one day. How do you do that? You know, that's like a nuclear event.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
something hit big
Yes.
and just hit reset,
Yes.
and the world came back completely different.
Yes.
And-
Echoes. There were echoes, legends. So by the time you get to Plato, you know, he's writing about it, and he's saying, well, it's actually a relative of mine got the story from an Egyptian priest who said, oh yeah, 9,500 years ago, you guys fought off the Atlanteans. They were coming in, and their whole island had gone down, you know.
Going this
and
way.
he places it right outside of the Straits of Gibraltar. So that's the Atlantic Ocean. I know people do this thing now with Atlantis. They put it all over the place. But the literature has it on one side, the Mediterranean, on the other side, the Gulf of Mexico. There's no getting around that. And, you know, it's not Antarctica. It's not...
I bet you it's inside.
Atlantis was right in the Atlantic. And Casey said the opening for that was in Bimini, and that it would rise, and that we would be able to see it. And you do have the Bimini Road. So, what the nice part of that is we can get access to it, unlike Antarctica.
or like the library at the Vatican. Like, what kind of knowledge is in there that you would just be like, oh, this unlocks everything, and the world's a different place.
Exactly, you got it. They have it already, and whenever a major discovery happens, they check in with them first. Because they have it in the library. It's an interesting story, actually, just to round out the whole Atlantis thing. There was a researcher, a woman, Paulina Zalitsky,
Ow.
who was originally from Ukraine and under the USSR and stuff. And they sent her to Cuba to do some underwater investigations. And she
Fuck is it?
defected to Canada. And then later, Castro hired her.
Oh, I see it.
So I want to find, you know, Spanish galleons off the coast. And this woman
I gotta go around.
with her oceanographer team went off the western tip of Cuba.
Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go.
Retirement conference. And as soon as she found it,
Oh shit!
they put her in a Mexican prison for 10 days to scare her. So she went back to Canada. And but she found this incredible thing, and she, in her book, where she makes these references now in this book. She won't talk about the actual event. But she makes references in the book that Castro and his brothers got together in 1998 to certify that these were ancient ruins. And
all right, let's get the hell out of
Castro
here.
did, in fact, he went down to Cuba. Castro was there, and the Pope came down to Cuba to visit. It was the first papal visit to Cuba.
Going back to the
And
road.
he's down there, and everyone wonders, why did the Pope do this now? Well, it's because Castro wanted to check in and say, are these ruins the same thing you have in your Vatican library? So, behind the scenes, they know they're so far ahead.
So much. They
Yeah.
know so much. They won't let us know. And I don't know what the purpose of that is.
Yeah.
Control us the way they do. Why they seem to have this weird kind of disposition to. Hold on, I think my microphone's messed up. We're good. Are we good?
You sound great. You sound good.
Why they seem to have this kind of death cult kind of view on everything, like these apex predators elites that we have. I don't get it. What are your thoughts on that? What, like when you look at people like Bill Gates and all these, like what are your thoughts on them? Like who are they worshiping? Who is their masters? Do you think?
Well, I always go back to the mystery school.
The hell is
literature.
this?
There's two sources, with Steiner in particular. Steiner's an interesting one. Rudolf Steiner is a mystic,
Interesting.
Austrian, and he was around. He started anthroposophy, so Waldorf schools and all that stuff. He started all that. What he did, he has incredible things. He created biodynamic farming, eurythmy, and
It's
all
the main
those
road?
different things. One of the things that he wanted
This is
to
the main
clear into
road.
the nature of what was happening in the future. And when you look at his work, it is like a preview of everything we're seeing in the headlines now. But what he talked about...
It feels like
was
there's
a
so many more
form
houses now than there was the last time I
Ahrimantic
played.
Technology. And the term Ahriman was something he used over and over again. When I looked into it, it's a Persian devil, literally. And Ahriman is something that comes through the technology and sort of separates humanity from its spiritual side and makes it totally technological. And he has a sphere in the cosmology called the Eighth Sphere, where the Ahrimanic trance basically lands you in the Eighth Sphere, and you think you're in reality. You're in their weird virtual reality, and it interrupts humanity's spiritual evolution. So this kind of flash forward that Steiner did.
Just gonna keep going straight. I'm not gonna fuck with these buildings. Just keep on the missions.
And there's also a preview in there. He's writing in 1920, and all the technological advances are all 21st century. Of the things that he's foreseeing in the future. So that is a spiritual battlefield of a sense, and I think it gets into a controlled place. And at a certain point, Steiner said, the biggest secret for many years that the mystery schools held was about the Eighth Sphere. They didn't let it out until the time was right. And so now we're rolling into this period of time, which is, it's anybody's game. And I think the root of it is ultimately they want to go up, the chain there, the spiritual chain, and they want to kind of short circuit the process. They don't want to have to go through the stages of spiritual evolution. They want to go up the tree of life, and there's a whole thing, if you study the tree of life symbology, about mineral and projecting the animal from the mineral, and that's a huge stage. Well, that is the human body as the animal going into the mineral computer android kind of form. They believe it. Yeah. They for sure believe it. And that's part of this whole thing about wanting everyone chipped, wanting you to become, enhanced and things of this nature, because they think they're going from animal to mineral and going up that chain. But they don't like the idea of going up and being spiritually advanced. They like the idea of being who they are, super intellectually capable, and going into this whole thing about being technologically
There's someone whistling up
that
there.
Tree of Life. That's their occult religion. And there's a real side to the Tree of Life, and then there's their version.
Gotta turn right here.
I think that's where it lands us. It helps explain
This is
part
crazy.
of the whole trip that they're on, because depopulation is such a heavy side of it, and that seems to me super normal. It's supernatural, the fascination around it. So the Ahriman thing, yeah, I think that really
Dude, that's I looked it up. That's crazy because it's from Zoroastrianism, right? You know, then you kind of get into Mithra and that's prevalent everywhere.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
How like the Statue of Liberty is a dude and dressed in drag, and that kind of what's made what we're seeing everywhere.
Shit, I'm dead.
Everybody live their life. I don't care, but that seems to be being forced all over the place. It fits into that, like it's an ancient religion, and then you get into this Amon, like, which is a lot of people think the devil from Christianity or the you know, the Abrahamic religion.
I'm so dead.
Steiner did a sculpture of Ahriman. If you look up Ahriman sculpture Steiner, you're going to see his version of it. He said while he was doing it, he tuned into Ahriman, and he started to feel like he was in heavy concrete. And the picture is pretty terrifying. If you ever see that sculpture he did of Ahriman, this was his mystical vision of the thing that he was talking about.
What was the name of it?
So it's Ahriman, and
Sculpture?
then Steiner sculpture. Yeah. When you see this, I wonder what you think of this.
Oh, here it is. Oh, man.
Yeah. That's Ahriman, according to Steiner.
Dude, and that looks so much like these alien things that... Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a mystical vision there. He's seeing something. No question about it.
Wow.
Right.
Is that it?
Yeah. Okay, so the first one, that's not actually the full image. If you go to the left there, you see the one further over to the left.
Is it just the head? Is that the one you're talking about? That's the head? Yeah, just put in, here we go, XG. I'll put this to you. Just put this in and it's crazy, dude. Just put this into the Google and you'll find it right there. It's crazy, and it looks exactly like, in a weird way, these aliens, in a weird way, what people, the original, wow, that's kind of crazy. The original Dracula in the movie kind of looks like him. Yeah,
there it is. That's a bingo.
Oh, like Nosferatu. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
look at that,
sculpture.
dude.
19.
Wow.
And he drew that in 19. He sculpted it in 1916. So this is quite an image. That's what he did, and it's interesting because
I'm dead.
He felt heavy, like he was in concrete. But the Ahriman, the Ahriman force, this dark astral force, was coming through advanced technology, and he was looking at it for our century. So I think that is where.
The bad guy in Flash Gordon. What's his
Holy
name?
fuck.
Ming the Merciless, dude?
Yes, Ming the Merciless, yeah.
God, that movie was so good. I can't believe they haven't remade it.
Yeah, well, Star Wars is really a ripoff of the Flash Gordon, if you think about it.
Oh, you think so?
Well, George Lucas admits he was greatly influenced by Flash
I
Gordon.
think Guardians of the Galaxy is a giant ripoff of Flash Gordon. That's why they haven't remade it. They're like, how do we
why
just
remake
not
it when you can just rip it off? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Not Owen.
Yeah.
But,
Holy
wow,
fuck.
Man. This has been an absolutely...
One thing I really don't like in this game is you can't really grab things on your body while you're moving. Like, you have to stop to grab things. Like, you can, but it's like, it always like lags behind a little bit. It's weird.
Meditation seminars, or like be a voiceover on an app to chill people out. Like, I could listen to you talk forever. What is the name of your podcast so we could send our listeners to find it? Because I could listen to you talk forever.
It's Dark Journalist, and on Friday nights at 8 p.m. I do a 3-hour show. It's on YouTube, and I call it the X series, the X Steganography series. And but if you can find it just by looking for Dark Journalist, and we do a show there. Everyone who comes in is in the ideas room. They contribute, and it's a really, we go deep on a lot of subjects, and we have the Hacking Atlantis, Craze in the Hot Zone documentary out there. We're putting out the Berkner Antarctica one on JFK's anniversary.
Dude, that is so crazy, that story. Like, dude, about bomb after bomb after bomb. Like, yeah, dude, just when you think you know, What? Oh, you think you know the JFK? You think there was a bullet? Well, I think it was Meyer Linsky and the crime syndicate. And then you're like, bang, dog, aliens. Dude.
Damn.
Aliens came in and just dropped Hammer of the Gods on everybody, and it was.
Wonder how do you
crazy,
tell how
dude.
many are in
It's
it? Let's
so
see.
crazy, and like
1 out of 15.
Like if you had
That one.
final question, at the center of this, I don't want to say it's a rotten onion or whatever the world of conspiracy is. What do you think the center of that is? If you had to guess, like the nucleus for all things. Like I used to think it was God, fallen angels, war on God, but I'm starting to think, based on you, that the timeline is even crazier.
Yeah, there is. It's interesting because the war in heaven thing is an interesting echo. I mean, the Tower of Babel story, if you really get into it, sounds exactly like what's going on right now. And it's interesting because even though that's in the Bible, and the whole thing about the Bible is the one God, it said the gods got together and reasoned among themselves. Well, if humanity is going to be able to do whatever they imagine to do, this is going to be a problem. Let's go down and confound their language. Well, our language has been pretty confounded. Right now, people can't even really have a discussion. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I never even thought about that. That's even crazier than making everybody speak different language. Now you make everything a fight.
Yes. And this is in a lot of the mystery school literature talks about the war of all against all. And the final outcome of that war is your right side goes to war with your left side physically. So you, the being, are at war. So you have forces operating. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've highlighted a lot of the kind of the darker forces coming in, but you have an incredible balance between dark and light going on, and it is the clash. You know, there's no doubt it's the clash of forces. And it's funny because it rolls down to us in technology and geopolitics, you know, and all the cultural developments and all the rest. But it takes place in that deep kind of astral space.
That was crazy, dude. The war of all against all. That is so crazy that it totally makes sense. It's like this giant battle royal of all ideas, all beliefs, all people, all going to the center square and just everyone just wailing on each other and nobody ever getting along, ever.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro.
And it serves a power. So it serves something else that, you know, if humanity gets together and throws off Ahriman, you know, if humanity gets together and throws off a kind of dark astral thing, you can't imagine the kind of thing we're capable of.
Dude,
Right.
that is the deepest shit I've ever heard, man. That is so 100% correct. All of it is like, if you're just dividing at all, you're part of this war of all against all, dude. That is incredible, dude. That is incredible. That was a great way to end the interview, man. Thank you so much, Dark Journalist, for coming on, dude. I could talk to you forever. You're definitely taking a shot at what we call the Mount Crushmore of tinfoil hat. I would have you back anytime you want to, like, slum it with us and come by. As you're dressed in a suit and we're all wearing sweatpants, you're more than welcome to come by anytime. One more time, whatever you're promoting, let us know one more time. What do you want people to check out? I'll make sure it's in the links below.
Oh, fantastic. Darkjournalist.com. And the documentary is Hacking Atlantis.
Oh, no, are you kidding me?
Zone. And we do the Dark Journalist show, and it's on Friday nights at 8 p.m. on YouTube.
So is the doc, is it just on YouTube or is it on Amazon, or where do you want
Kidding me,
people to
dude?
find it?
You can find it on Rumble, and you can find it on YouTube.
Bang, there you go. Bang,
Fantastic.
bang.
It's great to be on here, and as I've told you, I'm a fan of the Tinfoil Hat podcast and tune in regularly.
Dude, that just melts my dead heart. Thank you so much. You're so kind. I'm such a huge fan.
Can I get outside, maybe?
After this conversation, dude, I'm a huge fan.
Lost my fucking backpack? You kidding me?
Listen to people's podcasts, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Like after
Wait.
listening to you, I
There
think
we
I'm
go.
gonna start finally
Never mind.
having something I could listen to. So thank you very much, and let's break down this episode. What?
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. The
Come
shrooms
on,
can't help me.
dude.
The shrooms ain't helping me with this one.
Dude,
was
this guy's
mind-blowing.
tripping shrooms. You don't even need shrooms to trip balls off this. Dark journalist came and just put his big conspiracy dick on the table, okay?
We can honestly just have him back next month, or something, like before the holidays, because
Dude, I could listen to that guy talk for hours.
Discover the magic of BetMGM Casino, where the excitement is always on deck.
True, dude.
And check out a wide variety of table games with a live dealer. From roulette to blackjack, watch as a dealer hosts your table game and live chat with them throughout your experience to feel like you're actually at the casino. The excitement doesn't stop there. With over 3,000 games to choose from, including fan favorites like Cash Eruption, UFC Gold Plates, and more. Make deposits instantly to jump in on the fun, and make same-day withdrawals if you win. Download the BetMGM Ontario app today. You don't want to miss out. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 90 plus to wager, Ontario only. Please gamble responsibly. If you have questions or concerns about gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak with an advisor free of charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad heard only in Canada. Reach great Canadian listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts, offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Email Bob at Libsyn.com to learn more. That's BOB@LIBSYN.com.
This is how I felt bad having him keep talking. I was like, dude, I feel bad. We're wasting this guy's time. He's just too good for us.
To do. Yeah, he's got. I mean, he's doing real investigations here. He's learning things.
What? Yeah, this dick joke show. Well, how did we get this guy? It was such a. I mean, dude, you'll hear us say taking a shot at Mount Rushmore. This is it. This guy is taking a shot.
Wait, are you saying we don't mean it most of the time?
No, I mean, I think sometimes we throw it around a little too much because.
Because Mount Rushmore has 4 people on it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, again, we're going to be like the NBA. We're not going to kick anyone off in the next. If you made the top, you're in. We're just going to add new people to the bottom.
Well, maybe we have, like, okay, so it's Mount Crushmore. It's not Mount, so we call it
Yeah,
that.
Mount Crushmore,
maybe
we can have anything we want.
The top 4 is every year nominated, and then we have a rolling list that kind of fills out the rest. You know?
What we do is, like, every 500 episodes, we name who are the top 4 of the 500 episodes. And if you already made the first one, you don't go on the second. We don't kick anybody off.
You don't go on the second. But
like,
you don't want somebody to be like, you could be like a 3-time all.
Crushed it, right?
Oh shit! Nope.
Right, but you don't want.
Are you kidding me, dude?
You don't want him to be like a 3-time All-Pro, like a 3-time.
Fucking kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me, dude?
Nominate that, but I think on the mountain we should only have a new 4.
But this guy came in hot.
Once we get to 3,000 episodes.
Where's the last autosave?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna need a whole new mountain.
Here.
No, what I'm saying is, if we might not have enough people, you know what I mean? How many people are there that are really Crushmore?
Then there's no Crushmore, dog. Then it's like, to this 500, we didn't have anyone who made
it. Could be Mount Crush less.
Nobody was interested.
How far back this puts me?
This last 500 episodes, nobody was interesting at all.
I mean, don't you think it's weird that America hasn't added a new face? Not that anybody deserved it, but we just stopped at 4.
Who are you gonna get? Who are you gonna get? All right, dude. I might have jumped the gun on the net. So we're at 127. By the end of the month, we'll have 6. We'll be at 850. So the question is, can we hurl 850?
Well, this isn't even that far back.
150 episodes. So I don't know if we're gonna make it in 20. I thought we were gonna make it in 2025.
Shit, this isn't even that far back at all.
No.
Thought it was gonna be way further back than this.
Let's see.
You would need 75.
Might just leave though.
Technically.
Come back in the daytime.
All right. So at the beginning of
you need 3 a week for the entire 150.
Let's see what our rate, because you did some bonus ones this year and stuff. At the beginning of this year, we were at number 737.
So we're just below it. We're
just below it.
We're at 90. So if we did, do we do 3 a week and just rest, bro?
Well, we still have. I mean, we still have 2 months left, right? Which is.
Yeah.
That'll bang
So
out another
2 months.
More than 2 months.
So we would have 8 episodes. 8 episodes.
We'll hit 100 this year, right?
If you had, what was it? Yeah, we'll hit 100.
And we did a couple lives too. We did a couple lives. I don't know if the lives count.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't add that.
Well, I don't. The lives don't count to the number, so. No.
Yeah, you're right.
Simple. I had live number separate. I'm just talking about.
Well, this one's all bricked up, isn't it?
So yeah, we're 10 short. And do you think we'll do 10 by the end of the year?
Easy.
Probably. Yeah.
Easy, yeah.
And we'll get to 100 then. So we could at the end of the year. Do you want it to be around the holidays? Though is another question you have to ask.
No, so basically it will be around. I think the 500 will be around 2 Super Bowls from now.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Around February, right after February.
Yeah.
Depends on how many emergency episodes Sam does.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna be a crazy year. It will be a crazy year.
And listen, dude, I'm telling you, this show is fucking fire. I don't care. Like, it's fire, dude.
All right, what was your favorite topic? What if you had to say everything?
There's like a little town here.
Wrap up, and I thought we'd get to the 1,000 by the end of next year, and you never know. We may. You don't know. You don't know me, homie. I may hurl towards that. You don't know. I was thinking about it. What were some of my favorites? I mean, I really loved the weather modification episodes. I feel like the first one that Jim Lee and Topher Gardner came on was probably one of the best episodes we've ever done. Jay Dyer's episode on British intelligence in Islam is one of my favorites. This we just recorded is in there banging, dog. This the dark journalist.
Dude, I really like the Flint water crisis episode.
No, that was great too. It's like, look at us getting all serious with our journalism. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the best we've ever done, dude.
Trying to look at some of these.
I love when smart people come on here and they say the things I know, but I'm not smart enough to say it properly. Right? It's like real smart people with really good vocabularies.
Well, they also have way more time than you to research these things. It's not like you have time to sit around and do all this research either.
Yeah, I'm trying to look over. The Vanilla Sky one was great.
What is this?
That was a good one too.
Yeah,
well, this is the house I was already in. It just looks way different at nighttime.
Every day is the Roman the Roman Empire one was great.
I thought Austin Whitsitt gave us a good performance on the
Flat Earth
Austin
one. A lot of people talking about him right now.
Yeah.
Is he gonna go to Antarctica?
Said he was, right? Yeah, I say props to him for doing it if he is, because so many of those guys are on the record saying that if they go down there and the sun circles the sky for 24 hours, Flat Earth, they're gonna have to reevaluate their model. Not necessarily believe it's round, but something else. And now for them to say, oh no, like they're coming up with these crazy excuses for getting out of it.
I think he said he would do it.
No, Austin is. No, and I just praised him. Yeah, Austin has agreed to do it. But so many of these other, and the guy Jaron is also going to do it.
Holy fuck. Where did they come from, bro?
Director there to shoot.
I love Candace. I love that.
Those are the 3.
How are they there? They weren't there on my first time by.
And then you have all these Glovers that are wanting
The Archivist, when he came in Buried Empires, that was an all-time banger.
Yes, absolutely. Jamie Deluxe with Jay Dyer was a good one when they came on.
That was a great one. That was a great one. That was a great one.
Tony was good. Tony Arterburn talking about the Fed.
Yeah, that's a great
Narco
one.
Longo, man. Come on.
Narco Longo always brings
of course, Florida. We talked about Florida. Yeah.
I mean, we've had some all-time bangers. The Smiley Face Killer, you know.
Bloodsoe's killing it right now.
With William Ramsey and Recluse, that was a great episode. Yeah, so we've had some bangers, dude. Because this is where the bangers bang, bro.
Oh, what's his name? Who does the videos that everybody's jealous of? The guy.
Oh, Ian Carroll, who I go to war for. Go to war for because I think he's great. This like notion of like everybody's a controlled op right now. It's just, you know, it's like
go ahead.
It's what's interesting to me, Johnny and Xavier, is that you know, it's like a great example of a controlled op is RFK Jr. You know, it's like he says everything you want to hear, and then he just goes fully retarded on Israel. Like that to me is when Johnny thoughts.
Oh, I mean, does that mean that he's controlled opposition, or does that mean he's actually true to what he believes? Because that's not convenient for him. It doesn't help him politically. It torpedoed his campaign, really.
Okay, interesting, Johnny, because I could also be like, you know, my whole thing is like, what makes him controlled op?
He lost his following. I mean, because of that, really.
That's interesting, but is that kind of the game that gets played where like is that any different than when we see like Jennifer Lawrence coming out going, if you love Trump, don't come to my movies, and her career just completely cratered because they call in those favors, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, could be. It's hard to know. It's hard to know, man.
Hard to know.
It's like Jordan Peterson. Like, what's his deal? I don't know.
Now, what is his deal? What
like
up with that?
You can't deny he's helped a lot of young men out of dark places. I know a few of them myself. But he's got these.
Oh, you know who was great, guys? And this is way back in the day. Joe Atwell, when he did all that Freemasonry stuff from way.
Was that this year?
Yes, it was early in it was January 11th.
What was that guy? You know, it's not really. It's because it was so topical. It's probably not Crushmore level, like just because of it was like. But it was so great having what was his name? Canon Hotep for that bridge thing. Remember?
Oh yeah,
at the
that
bridge
was a great
when
one.
it was happening. That was
an all-time great.
That was.
Yeah, this episode by Dark Journalist. It's not it's Dark Journalist. Like his first name's Dark, last name's Journalist. Dark
Jeff
Journalist.
Wilson was good.
Yeah, dude. We had some bangers, dude.
We had Greg Fitzsimmons on. We're not even mentioning him because he was kind of afraid to talk about things because of his, he's in Hollywood. I mean, like, what can he?
I love Greg. He's
funny guy, but I mean, like, that shows you the level of dialogue we've had on the show this year.
I mean, I was supposed to do a show. He never got me a new date ever.
Yeah, well, I think after he heard the kind of conversations we were in, he got a little scared.
I'm going to do Rogan this weekend, but I can't do.
Can't do Greg Fitzsimmons.
No. I just was on Kill Tony. I can't,
Yeah.
Whatever. I love them. To each their own. Live your life.
Your Ryan Sickler episode was great.
Was it? Thank you. I never know. I feel like I'm doing well, but you know.
Yeah.
I felt like I did good on Kill Tony, but you just listen to the comments. They're just like, Tony's gay. Tony's gay. Hans Kim is fucking a retard.
What do you think that is? What is that? Why is that? Is it just because they kind of it's a roast kind of?
I just think when you get that big of a show, you just bring in the crazies.
Yeah, but it's also, you remember you used to say about Punch Drunk that it had kind of a shit talk energy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that show no one has a bigger energy of shit talking than Kill Tony, so it ends up in the comments too.
Yeah.
Have you heard that Shab is challenging? Is like I'll murk Nate Diaz. Have you heard that?
What do you think about that? Someone that does jiu-jitsu now. Do you think do you think is what's his name is out of line? Because he called him out first. He called Brendan Schaub an idiot or some shit like that. Brendan Schaub, yeah.
Listen, I mean, like Schaub is a fucking juggernaut.
Yeah.
He's a juggernaut, dude. He's a heavyweight juggernaut. He's like 240, bro. What weight class does Diaz fight at?
I mean, if he got in shape, it would be different. But
I don't even think he walks around at 170. Maybe 180.
No, I think he walks around probably around 190. Probably can cut down to 170.
I mean, he
maybe 200 at the most.
What's the cutoff for that these days?
Like I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan, but Schaub's my friend. I get why Schaub said that, and he got really passionate towards the end of it, and I was like, "Ugh."
He was 171 for his last fight with Ferguson.
Yeah, I mean, like he's Diaz brothers are great, but Schaub is like a fucking high-end athlete, dude. Like a high-end athlete, like top 10 heavyweight at the time, top 10 heavyweight. I mean.
Yeah, there's a reason for weight classes.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and he says it. He says it, dude. And like I don't know, man. By the way, Schaub's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know how hard that is?
Was he back? Was he when he was fighting? Do you know, or is that a new thing?
No, I think he was when he was fighting. He was just, you see him in there with these fucking Amazons, dog, like crazy. I don't know, man. I love Shab. I wish the internet would just
I'm done,
give him a
boys.
break and let him just fucking live his life.
He doesn't do himself any favors, though.
No, the other day he did the other day he said the funniest thing. He said he went to go watch the Joker 2, and he said that the comment section was worse than his own special. And I was like, it just got to laugh. And I was like, there we go. Like, you fucking own up to it. And then everyone started laughing. I was like, that's what's up.
That's so funny, dude. I love him though, dude. He really is a good guy. I know people have this view of him. He really is a nice guy, dude. He really is a nice guy. If you go to, hey guys, thank you to everybody who's buying my